National Guard troops cannot deploy to Portland, Oregon, at least for now. That is the latest ruling from a federal judge who says the Trump administration has failed to justify that move. President Trump has been trying to deploy those troops to Oregon's capital for months in response to protests that have been mostly peaceful but have occasionally turned violent. NewsNation's Jorge Ventura has been covering these Portland protests, joins us live. So, Jorge, this ruling is only temporary. How long is that deployment now blocked?
Yeah, that's right, Nichole. For now, the state of Oregon and the city of Portland getting a big win in court. The U.S. District Court Judge Karina Amargut says that she needs more time to review the evidence of this case and will be blocking that National Guard deployment to at least this Friday, November 7th at 5 p.m. And that's when the judge will then issue her final ruling on this case. She says she will be reviewing 3-day evidence provided last week during last week's trial. Now, so far, attorneys for the Justice Department are arguing that President Trump is allowed to call up the National Guard if federal law cannot be carried out or if there is a rebellion. But based on the evidence heard last week, the judge says that those conditions just have not been met in Portland. Now, leading to this attempt to deploy the National Guard, President Trump calling the city of Portland a war zone. Trump's main focal point for that troop deployment is to protect the ICE facility in South Portland from months long of anti-ICE protests outside of the facility. Some of those nights, those protests have turned violent, where crowds of protesters clashed with federal agents. In October, NewsNation was on the ground for several protests outside of that ICE facility. We witnessed numerous of clashes between those large crowds of anti-ICE protesters and agents. Many times those protests, as you can see on your screen, were large crowds of crowd control ammunitions, tear gas deployed, pepper ball guns, and more. And we see numerous also of targeted arrests during these protests. Now, Secretary Noem has threatened to increase the number of federal agents to that ICE facility in South Portland if local law enforcement failed to protect federal officers. In his reaction to the judge's continued block of National Guard troop deployment, Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield, in a statement, is saying, quote, "We're grateful the court is taking the time to get it right. We'll keep doing everything we can." Nichole, we're expecting that final ruling this Friday. Likely, no matter what the outcome, there will be an appeal.
All right, Jorge Ventura live for us there. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.